You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WXCO Daily News Roundup for Bull Falls Radio, 98.9 FM and 1230 AM in Wausau.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. President Biden returns to Wisconsin today. He's talking about his administration's progress in replacing lead pipes in Milwaukee and creating good-paying jobs. It's Biden's second visit to Wisconsin since dropping out of the presidential race. He was here in September to talk about new investments in rural electrification and other infrastructure. Wisconsin school superintendent has a challenger in the next election. Jeff Wright is the superintendent of the Sauk Prairie School District. Wright is the first person to step up to challenge Jill Underly. She's been in office since 2021. Wright is a Democrat who ran for state assembly in 2018 but lost by about 300 votes. The election is April 1st. Battleground Wisconsin is seeing a lot of campaign stops this year, but the nation's agriculture secretary says winning rural Wisconsin will take more effort than that.
It isn't enough for you to stop by in those rural areas. You got to have an office. You got to have volunteers. You got to have people talking about the campaign on a constant basis.
Tom Vilsack joined Civic Media's Todd Aubaugh show this week. Wisconsin voters can expect to hear more about the future of the U.S. Supreme Court as a presidential campaign issue. 4 of the 9 justices will soon turn 70.
We are trying to make it clear to voters that when you're voting this year, you're not just voting for a president, you're not just voting for Congress, you're also voting for generations of decisions that will impact you, your family, your children, your grandchildren's fundamental rights.
Joe Hines is with the progressive group Stand Up America. 24 people in Wisconsin have landed in the hospital after eating eggs that are now being recalled. The eggs came from a farm in Bondwell. The eggs were sold under the brand names of Milo's Poultry Farms, M&E Family Farms, and Tony's Fresh Market. Duck eggs from Happy Quackers Farm are also part of the recall. Wisconsin is getting $115 million to hook up public libraries and community centers to the internet. 35 communities will benefit from the federal funding. The money is meant to serve disadvantaged populations impacted by the pandemic and who have little to no broadband access. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now, here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WXCO News, I'm Brittany Merlot. The wildfire at Rocha Cree State Park has been contained. It was a 6.5-acre fire that started at the top of the mound. The Nature Conservancy and UW-Stevens Point fire crew are currently assisting with mop-up. The DNR says that the fire is burning in pine needles and leaf litter and has done minimal damage to trees so far. However, the stairway has been damaged. They said they'll continue to look for smoke and burning materials within the fire perimeter. The park's main gate is closed for the season and the property is closed to the public until further notice. The lack of precipitation in recent weeks has resulted in this increased fire danger. Coupled with low relative humidity and very gusty winds has led to increased wildfire activity across the state and will continue this week.
Always being careful with fire, that we as humans are the leading cause of wildfires in the country, and that, it's a reminder of the consequences and what we need to do to prevent wildfires from happening.
Wisconsin 34 is closed in both directions near Knowlton due to a crash. It's shut down from Siegel Drive to DeBay Drive, and the Marathon County Sheriff's Office says drivers should use an alternate route. Police departments around the area are reminding everyone to lock your car doors. Studies have shown that most burglarized or stolen vehicles have been left unlocked. Officials say you should always lock your vehicle even if it's parked in your driveway or garage. Never hide a spare key anywhere in or on your vehicle. Most thefts happen when valuables are left unattended. Remember, responsible citizens don't attempt to enter unlocked vehicles that are not their own, but criminals will. And Hurricane Milton has become the 5th strongest storm to ever form in the Atlantic Basin. Its pressure dropped down to 897 last night as a Cat 5 with winds at 155 miles per hour. This morning, it has weakened slightly to a Cat 4 with wind speeds around 145. But no matter the wind strength, the surge in this one is the real danger and headed towards Tampa Bay. It's expected to make landfall tomorrow.
I thought, wow, that's awful, but until you've lived it, you just don't know. And I don't know what normal is after something like this.
The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is asking for your help from deer hunters to test for PFAS in white-tailed deer. They need tissue samples from hunters with kills in the area around the town of Stella. If you plan to hunt there, the DNR is asking for hunters to submit 100 grams of both muscle and liver tissue. This is about the amount of the size of an adult thumb. Samples should be wrapped in aluminum foil and placed in a zip-closed bag, then dropped off at the CWD kiosk in Rhinelander. And the Ice Age Trail Alliance is encouraging people to get outside and explore at least 44 miles on the Ice Age National Scenic Trail and visit 3 trail communities in October. It's free for anyone to register for the 5th annual Mammoth Hike Challenge. Finishers who submit their completion form will earn a patch and a certificate. Amy Lord is the Ice Age Trail Alliance Outreach and Education Manager. She thinks about 8,000 people will take the challenge this year. Will you? The 26th annual Giant Pumpkin Fest was a smashing success over the weekend in Nakusa. The president of the fest, Heather Sayers, said the weather was perfect and the crowd was even bigger than last year.
We actually had, I would say, probably a better crowd than we did last year. We had approximately 10,000 people on Saturday, and I would say probably about 8,000 on Sunday.
They had a tractor show on Saturday and a car show on Sunday. Riverside Park was full of vendors, and children and parents alike enjoyed the carnival and the range of food options that were available. The Wisconsin Rapids Community Theater even performed The Legend of Sleepy Hollow on Sunday night, right before the giant pumpkin drop. The crowd surged towards the smashed pumpkin after the drop to take away a souvenir. Heather said that next year will be even better.
The Badgers get ready for Rutgers. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. College football, the Wisconsin Badgers travel to New Jersey this weekend to take on the 4-1 Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Badgers head coach Luke Fickell says quarterback Braden Locke did a good job of bouncing back in their win over Purdue after throwing 2 interceptions early in the game.
Sometimes you take it for, well, he's a slinger and he doesn't care. No, it's just he processes things. He's able to come back. He's able to have confidence in what he's doing.
NFL Packers head coach Matt LaFleur says he expects Romeo Doubs to be back at work tomorrow. Doubs suspended over the weekend after not reporting to practice last week.
The one thing I'll say about it is, it's a pretty isolated incident. Like, this has not happened with him before, and I don't expect it to happen moving forward.
NBA, the Bucks host the Lakers Thursday night in a preseason game. Damian Lillard says he's in great shape thanks to his personal trainers.
Nutritionist and chef and speed and agility, strength and conditioning, my basketball trainer, my PT, all of that stuff. We just got connected, and then we put a plan together all the way through the offseason, and we executed it.
That's the Bucks' Damian Lillard. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Attention Bear fans. No, not those kind. The Bear will be back for a season 4, and actress Sarah Paulson, who plays cousin Michelle on the show, indicated she will be back as well. The actress indicated as much while discussing her new horror film, Hold Your Breath, with the New York Post. Hold Your Breath dropped last Thursday on Hulu to pretty mediocre reviews. The film also stars fellow The Bear cast member and 2-time Emmy winner Ebon Moss-Bacharach. Season 4 of The Bear could return as early as 2025. In How Clueless Can You Possibly Be news, a man approached Sean Combs' ex, Young Miami, and asked her to sign a bottle of baby oil. The rapper was sitting in an SUV when the fan approached and asked her through an open window to sign his toiletry. The FBI uncovered thousands of bottles of baby oil from Combs' homes in Miami and Los Angeles earlier this year. The only thing that could make this story even weirder is if it was totally random and the guy had no knowledge of Sean Combs' scandal. Beyoncé's album Cowboy Carter was snubbed when it came to the Country Music Awards, even though it hit the top of the charts. Country singer Luke Bryan addressed the controversy on the Andy Cohen Live podcast, saying he understood why her fans were upset, but also gave Beyoncé some advice, saying, if you're going to make country albums, come into our world and be country with us. Just a word to the wise for Beyoncé, renting a U-Haul might be sort of tough if you're moving to Nashville. People that have near-death experiences often say they see a light. During COVID, Al Pacino says he was close to death and even had no pulse at one point, and paramedics had to bring him back to life. Pacino also offered that when he was supposedly no longer alive and transitioning, that there was nothing and he did not see a light. Or maybe God saw Righteous Kill. The Joker 2, Folie à Deux, took number 1 at the box office this past weekend. The film brought in $40 million to lead the way, but given that both audiences and critics showed approval ratings in the low 30s, according to Rotten Tomatoes, it would be a surprise if the Joker sequel starring Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga showed any type of legs at the box office. Coming in second place was last week's champ, The Wild Robot, which added a few screens and took in almost $19 million domestically. The Wild Robot, in contrast to the Joker, is rocking a 98% score on Rotten Tomatoes with both critics and audiences. My guess is the 2% in each case
are moviegoers who enjoyed The Joker. Coming in third place was Beetlejuice with just over $10 million at the box office in its fifth week of release. The Beetlejuice sequel has taken in $265 million domestically. Rounding out this week's top 5 are Transformers 1 and Speak No Evil. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly sunny today with a high in the mid-60s this afternoon. The wind will be out of the northwest at around 5 to 10. Tonight, clear with a low in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high in the mid to upper 60s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 39.
That's your WXCO Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at bullfallsradio.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.